A very good morning to all. Today we are going to start the new lesson, lesson number 5, India physical features. Okay, we are going to see about India's physical features. Okay, shall we start with the lesson, children? Shall we start with it first? What it is? India is a large country. What is it, children? Isn't it you all know about? India is a large country. Isn't it? India is a large country. It has different kinds of physical features. Okay, it has many different kinds of physical features because it is a large country, isn't it? So it has many physical features. Okay, it has high mountains. Whatever it has, children, it has high mountains, plateaus, which mean by highland. Okay, which mean by very big lands, which mean the plateaus, and deserts. Okay, you all know about the deserts, isn't it, right? And island. Okay, what it is? Island, a land which is covered full of surroundings covered with full of seas, which will be island, isn't it? So and then also plains is a land. Okay, so what they say? India is a large country. India is a large country because of its many different physical features. Okay, it has mountains, plateaus, deserts, islands and plains. Okay, in this chapter we are going to discuss about this only. We are going to see about what are all the mountains in India, and we are going to see about the plateaus, and we are going to see about the deserts, islands and plains. Okay, shall we start this, children? See, India can be broadly divided into 6 natural regions. What is it? India can be broadly divided into 6 natural regions. How many types, children? 6. Okay, 6 types of natural regions. What are they? See, the North Mountain Ranges. The first one is North Mountain Range. Okay, first one is what is, children? North Mountain Range. The second one is the Northern Plains. Okay, the second one is the Northern Plains. This is about only the northern side of the India. Okay, children, the North Mountain Ranges, the Northern Plains. Okay, the third one is the Great Indian Desert. What it is? The Great Indian Desert, and then the Plateau region, and then we are going to discuss about the Plateau region, the coastal plains, and we are going to see about what are all the coastal plains lies in the India, and then last is the island. In this chapter we are going to discuss about this topics only. Okay, children, I repeat it again. How many types, children? India can be broadly classified into 6 natural regions. Okay, children. The first one is the North Mountain Ranges. Okay, the first one is North Mountain Ranges. What is the second one, children? Yes, very good. The second one is the Northern Plains. What is the second one? The Northern Plains. The third one is the Great Indian Desert. We are going to discuss about the Great Indian Desert. The fourth one is the Plateau region. What about the region called Plateau? That only we are going to discuss about in this topic. Okay, and then the coastal plains. The last one is island. Okay, children, shall we move to the first topic that I said before? What I said, the first topic, the Northern Mountain Ranges. That only we are going to see about it. Okay, see the Northern Mountain. What it is? The Northern Mountain. Shall we start to read first, children? Okay. What did you see? India is bordered in the north by the Himalayas. What is this, children? India is bordered in the north side. Okay. Think your mind, say India map, children. Okay, in the north side mostly is bordered by the Himalayas. They didn't say about the south side, children. The north side only they said about that India is broadly fully covered with Himalayas, which mean by mountains. Okay, India is bordered in the north by the Himalayas. The word Himalaya, what is it? The word, what it is? The word Himalaya. What is the spelling of Himalaya, children? Shall we see? Himalaya. Himalaya. What is the spelling of Himalaya, children? Himalaya. Himalaya. Okay, children. It stands for abode of snow. What does it? Stands for abode of snow. What does it mean by abode of snow? Which is mean by home of snow. That means the Himalayas are fully covered with snow. Okay, the main part throughout the year, the Himalayas are mostly covered with full of snow. So that only the Himalayas stands for abode of snow. Okay, children, what is the spelling of abode of snow? A B O D E. Abode. A-O-F of snow. S and O-W. Snow. Okay, children, the first thing what I said here is India is bordered in the north by only the Himalayas. Okay, the word Himalaya stands for the abode of snow, which is meant by the home of snow, which means the full of Himalayas are covered only by the snow. Okay, children, and then next point, this range of mountains. Okay, this range of mountains stretches from back to back. The range of mountains is covered. That only they said here. Okay, the range of mountains stretches from Jammu and Kashmir in the north to Arunachal Pradesh in the east and some hill ranges in the northeast. What is it? You can see the range of mountains, which mean by which area they cover. Okay, which area they cover. They say about it stretches from Jammu and Kashmir. You know that Jammu and Kashmir is up to the northern side, isn't it? So Jammu and Kashmir in the north to Arunachal Pradesh. Which side? To Arunachal Pradesh in the east. Okay, and some hill ranges in the northeast. That means by this side. Okay, if it is in the India map, they said about this side. Okay, from north Himachal Pradesh to the Jammu and Kashmir to the Arunachal Pradesh, and also some hill ranges in the northeastern side. Okay, children, that one is said. So we are going to discuss about that North Mountains range, or broadly divided into three parallel ranges. Okay, the Himalayas are divided into three. How many children? Three parallel ranges. This mean by parallel. Okay, this mean by parallel, and this mean by equal. Okay, here three parallel ranges. What are they? The Greater Himalayas. What it is? The first one is the Greater Himalayas. We are going to discuss about Himalaya. The name called Himachal. What it is? Himachal. What is the spelling of Himachal? H-I-M-A-G-R-I. Himachal. Okay. The Greater Himalayas. Himachal, the first one. The second one is the middle or lesser Himalayas. The first one they said about it is greater most Himalayan region, the name called Himachal. And the second one is they said about it is some middle and less Himalayas. Okay, the middle or less Himalayas. The name of the Himalaya is Himachal. What is Himachal? What is the spelling of Himachal? You will see H-I-M-A-C-H-A-L. Himachal. Okay, children, what is the first one? Himachal. It is greater Himalayan. And what is the second one? Himachal. It is the middle or lesser Himalayas. The next one is lower Himalaya. Okay, first they said three parallel. No, so the first one is greater, and then middle, and then very lower. Lower Himalayas. The name is Shivalik. What it is? The name is Shivalik. What is the spelling of Shivalik? Yes, H-I B-A-L-I-K. Shivalik. Okay, children, this only we are going to discuss about. This what we are going to discuss: the Greater Himalayas, Himachal, the middle or lesser Himalayas, Himachal. The third one is the lower Himalayas, Shivalik. Okay, children, have you all know about what I said here? I said about the northern mountains. That is, India is broadly classified in the northern side of Himalayas. The word Himalaya stands for abode of snow. That means like a home of snow, which is fully covered with only snow. So that only they call as abode of snow. Okay, children, and the land is stretches, the ranges of mountains is stretches from the Jammu and Kashmir from the north to the Arunachal Pradesh to the west. Okay, to the east side, and some hill ranges in the northeast. These are classified into three parallel ranges. The first one is the Greater Himalayas, Himachal. The second one is the Middle Himalayas, Himachal. The third one is the Lower Himalayas, Shivalik. That one we are going to discuss after. Okay. What I said to you about mountain range children, we have three parallel ranges, isn't it? The one is Himadri, the second one is Himachal, the third one is Shivali. That only we are going to discuss here about. Okay? The greater Himalayas, the Himadri range. Okay? The greater Himalayas, the Himadri range. Shall we start with the children? See, the Himadri range has the tallest mountains. What is the Himalayan range is the tallest, which is meant by very big mountains. Okay, their average height is over 6,000 meters. Its height is over about how much meters, children? It is over about 6,000 meters. Imagine how long it will be. So only it is considered as tallest mountains. It is considered as tallest mountain, children. Himadri. Okay, and then they are covered with snow all through the year. Okay, they are covered with full of snow all through the year, because I already said it right. The Himalaya stands for abode of snow, which means like a home of snow. So the land which is covered totally by snow is said to be the Himalaya. So it is full of snow throughout the year. And the highest peak in the world, is Mount Everest. You all know about this, isn't it, right, children? The highest peak in the world is Mount Everest, which is in Nepal. The highest peak in India is Mount Kanchenjunga. Okay, children? More about it, children. The highest peak in the world. Okay, in the world, name of the highest peak is Mount Everest. It is located in Nepal. Okay, the highest peak in India. Our country. The highest peak in India is Mount Kanchenjunga. What is the spelling of Kanchenjunga? Kanchenjunga. Kanchenjunga. Okay, children. And then perennial rivers such as Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra, Satluj, and so on, all start from Himadri. Okay, children, we have many rivers. In the Himalayan region. Okay, which Himalayan region? Himadri. What are all the rivers? Ganga. What are all the rivers, children? Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra, and Satluj. These are all the rivers that start from Himadri. Okay, children, these are all the rivers that start from Himadri. This is all about Himadri, children. What they said? Himadri is the tallest mountain. Its height is about 6,000 meters. Okay, so the height is about 6,000 meters. So only it is called as tallest mountains. And also it is fully covered with snow throughout the year. Okay, and then the highest peak in the world is Mount Everest, which is in Nepal, and the highest peak in India is Kanchenjunga, which is in India. Okay, children. And what about the rivers? They said Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra. So there are so many rivers. Okay, children. They said about only 4 such rivers here, which start all over from Himadri. Okay, children. Next one we are going to discuss is the middle or lesser Himalayas. So it is Himachal Range. I said you right. Middle one is Himachal Range. Okay. Shall we discuss about it? The Himachal Range is lower in height than the Himadri. This Himachal Range is lower in height than Himadri. So that only is said as middle or lower Himalayan region. It is lower than, but it is not so much of low than other. It is lower than only Himadri. Okay, children. It is famous for its hill stations such as Kullu, Mussoorie, Nainital, Shimla, and Darjeeling. You all hear about this birds, isn't it? Shimla, Darjeeling, and all. It is all in India, isn't it? So it is famous for this. Himachal Range lies in hill stations such as Kullu, Mussoorie, Nainital, Shimla, and Darjeeling. Okay, children. And the hill station have trees such as pine, oak, and fir. There are many such trees, children. Trees such as pine tree, oak, and also fir tree. Okay, and then the lower slopes of these mountains have orchards, which is meant by fruit garden. What is meant by orchard, children? fruit garden. Lower slopes of this mountain, which is mean by lower part, that is the mountain means it is like in a slope like structure, no? So the lower part of the mountains it have called orchards, which is mean by the fruit garden. Okay, children, this is about the middle or lesser Himalayas, Himachal Range. What we have studied here, it is lower in height than Himadri, and it is famous for hill stations such as Kullu, Missouri, Nainital, Shimla and Darjeeling. And then it has trees such as pine, oak and fir. And then the lower slopes of these mountains have orchards, which is meant by the fruit garden. The lower slopes of the mountain is full of fruit garden. Okay, and then we are going to discuss about the last one. Here is the lower Himalayas, the Shivalik Range. Okay. Shall we start the read, children? See, the Shivalik Range is lower in height than the Himalayan Range. What is it, children? It is lower in height than the Himachal. It is lower than Himadri, and Shivalik is lower than Himachal. So it is very most lowest region. It has hills rather than mountains. It is mostly covered with hills rather than mountains. Okay, and then the region has thick forest and wildlife sanctuaries. The region is full of very thick forest, and also the wildlife sanctuaries, which is meant by this forest is full of covered with wild animals such as lion, tiger, and you know, no? So this region is covered full of thick forest, and we can call it as a wildlife sanctuaries, which is meant by mostly wild animals live there. In which region, children? In Shivalik Range. And then crops such as rice, wheat and sugar cane are cultivated here. Okay, you want to know about rice, wheat and sugar cane, isn't it? So these types of crops are cultivated here. And then the hills in the east do not have snowfall, but very heavy rainfall. The hills in the east do not have the snowfall, but it has heavy rainfall. So the rain is very heavy in this region. In which side, children? In the eastern part of the hillside. Okay, the eastern part of the hillside of Shivalik region. What they said, it has very heavy rainfall, but snow is very less. Okay, children, this is all about the Shivalik. What they said, it is lower in height than Himachal, and then it is mostly covered with hills rather than mountains, and the region has thick forests and wildlife sanctuaries. Many crops such as rice, wheat and maize are cultivated here. Okay, the last one is hills in the east not have snowfall but very rainfall. Okay, children, this is all about the northern mountain range. I said it before about Himadri, Himachal and Shivalik. Have you all clear about this, children? It is very interesting to know. What I said it before, children, India is broadly classified into 6 natural regions, isn't it? The second one, what I said, the northern plains. What I said, the northern plains. That only we are going to discuss here. Okay, children. Shall we start to see the northern plains? Okay, the northern plains lie to the south of the Himalayas. What they say, children? The northern plains lie to the southern side of the Himalayas. Okay, it lies to the south side. The Himalaya, there are many such Himalayas, isn't it? So this northern plains is like to the southern side of the Himalayas. Okay, and then the second point, they are watered by 3 great rivers. They are watered by 3 great rivers. One is the Indus, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra. It is very most important thing, children. Okay, water, the northern plains, this means they are watered, which means when the full of land plains are covered by the 3 main rivers. Okay, the first one is the Indus. Okay, the first one is Indus. You should have to make care of this. Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. You should have to know this. Okay, so what it is? Indus. What is the spelling of Indus? I-N-D-U. They are only saying rivers, we have to say with the Indus. Okay, children. The Indus. Then the Ganga. Okay, the Ganga. What is the spelling of Ganga? Ganga. Ganga. And the Brahmaputra. What is Brahmaputra? Brahmaputra. Okay, children. Now we are clear about it. They are watered by three great rivers. The one is Indus. The second one is the Valley. Sorry, the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. Okay, children. The third point is the river basins of three rivers are rich and fertile. Okay, this river was the main important for what? For cultivation, which means for fertile, for crops, for growing crops. These rivers plays very important role for the areas that surrounded there. Okay, children. So it is very important thing. Which important thing? These three rivers are very important for what? For fertilization, for cultivation or whatever it may be. They are growing many such crops or wheat, isn't it? No, so these rivers play a very important role for them to irrigate, for the irrigation. Okay, and then next point, most of India's wheat and rice are grown here. What is it, children? See, here is a very important point. You have to listen carefully. See, most of India's wheat, this we are using daily as a food for doing chapati, no, isn't it? So wheat is used for by using wheat only we are preparing chapati. So India's wheat and rice we are cooking daily rice, we are eating daily food meals, isn't it? So India's wheat and rice are grown here. Hence these plains are also called the food bowl of India. Okay, so that only this is mainly called as food bowl of India, which is mainly called as food bowl of India, children. This northern plains, because India's wheat and rice are mostly grown here. So this is mainly called as, what is mainly called as food bowl of India. It is very important point, children. Okay, food bowl of India. And then what they said about the last point, see, many textile, paper, sugar, iron and steel industries are present in this region. This region, many textiles, which means we are wearing many different types of cloths, isn't it? So many textiles, paper, you all know about what is paper, right? You all know about the sugar also. It is a sweet concept. And then iron, you all know about what is iron. And steel industries are also present in this region only. Children, this is all about the northern plains. I repeat it again, children, listen carefully. The northern plains lie to the south of the Himalayas. Okay, children. And then there are watered by the three main rivers. The one is the Indus, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra. These three rivers plays very important role for cultivations or for fertile. Okay, or for fertile. These are the three river basins of these three rivers are rich and fertile, and most of India's wheat and rice grown here. So these are said to be the, what I said to you before, children. So these are said to be the food bowl of India. See, food bowl of India, because wheat and rice are mostly grown here. Okay, and then many textiles, sugar, paper, iron and steel industries are present in this region. Children, have you all clear about this? Northern plains, it is very easy and it is very interesting to listen now. Okay, then we are going to discuss about the third one. What I said to you before, India can be broadly classified into 6 natural regions, isn't it? The first one is the northern mountain range that we have discussed before. The second one is the northern plains that we have discussed now. Then we are going to discuss about this is the Great Indian Desert. We are going to discuss about what we are going to discuss about, children. The Great Indian Desert. Okay, shall we start this, children? The Great Indian Desert is also called as Thar Desert. Okay, the Great Indian Desert is also known as Thar Desert. What is the spelling of Thar? T-H-A-R, Thar, D-E-S-E or T Desert. We all know that if we call the name the desert name, it is very less rainfall, isn't it? It is very less rainfall. Okay, where it is located? The Thar Desert lies in the state of Rajasthan. See, where it is lies, children? It is lies in the state of Rajasthan, which is also in India, isn't it? You all know about it. It is also in the northern side. Okay, the Thar desert lies in the state of Rajasthan. And as a key point what is it here, you can see, as the region resists very less rainfall. See, this is very less rainfall. There is no rain at all. So it is very dry. It is very dry. The Thar desert is very dry because it has released only very less rainfall, which is mean by no rain at all throughout the year. So it is very dry. Okay, and then the next point, dust storms are common here. What is it, children? Dust storms are common here. You all know about the storms, isn't it? Speed of low wind is the storms. Which type of storms will come here, children? It will be dust storms because it is mostly covered with sand, isn't it? Desert is mostly covered with sand. So the storms will also be in dust. So they call as dust storms, which is very mostly common in this Thar desert region. Okay, children. And then the camel, known as the ship of the desert, is adapted to life in the desert. You all know that, children. Camel is mainly mostly found in desert region, isn't it? How camel only live in there? Because it is adapted their life in the desert. So it is called as ship of the desert. So camel is known as the ship of the desert. Why it is known as the ship of the desert? Because it is adapted their life in the desert. It is mostly found in the desert region only. Which one mostly found in the desert region, children? Camel. Okay, and then what is said, the plants normally found here are cactus, bamboo. Okay, it is very dry region, no? So most of the trees are not grown here. Only some of the trees will grow. Okay, so the plants normally found here are cactus and bamboo. Okay, and then the Indira Gandhi Canal brings water to the Thar desert from the Satluj river. See, if it is without water means it is very tough to live. No, so the Indira Gandhi Canal, the name of the canal is Indira Gandhi. What it do? It brings water. It brings water to the Thar desert. Okay, it brings water to the Thar desert from the Satluj river. Which river, children? Satluj river. From the Satluj river, the Indira Gandhi Canal, which is mean by it is the way. From that, it takes the water to the Thar desert. It is useful for fertilization. It is useful for fertilization, for cultivation, or anything. It may be for crops. It is useful for them to live. For the people who are living in the Thar desert, it is useful for them to live. Which river, children? Satluj river. And then sometimes there is an oasis in the desert. Sometimes there is an oasis in the desert. Sometimes there is an oasis, which means by it is a fertile spots of water is found. Okay, water is found in some sort area in the Thar desert. Okay, in that place only dot palms like trees are found. Okay, that means by oasis. Okay, in some of the middle places some water is found. Now in that water place only what trees will grow? Date palms. Okay, that only they said here. And then many crops such as wheat, barley, maize are grown here. There are various crops also grown in this region, children. Wheat, barley, rice, which you know about the barley rice, isn't it? You know about the wheat and also maize. Okay, all grown here. People in the desert are normally nomads. What is that, children? People in the desert are normally nomads. What is mean by nomads, children? So the people will move from one place to another. They won't stay in a single place. They will move from one place to another place. Which will be nomads. Okay. So most of the people in this desert are nomads because they won't stay here because of the less rainfall, and there is also no fertilization like that, because there is the only way of fertilization is they getting water from the Satluj river through the Indira Gandhi Canal. Isn't it? So most of the people will not live there. They also, the people in the desert are normally called nomads. Okay, children, this is about the great Indian desert. Are you all clear about this, children? The Thar desert lies in the state of Rajasthan, and the region, this is only very less rainfall. It is dry dust storms are common here. The camel is known as the ship of the desert. It's a very important thing we have to know here is the camel is known as the ship of the desert because it has adapted the life to live in the desert. Okay, children. And then sometimes there are roses found in this desert. In that region only date palms will grow here, and also some of the plants such as cactus and basil will grow here. And then many crops such as wheat, barley, maize are also grown here. We will call people in the desert normally nomads. Okay, children, this is all about northern plains and great Indian desert. Okay, we are going to discuss about three more broadly classified into 6 natural regions. I said no. We have to discuss 3 more things. Okay, today's assignment is what you have to write. You have to write the words, question answers, and be type in your class document. Okay, children. This answers of this PDF is attached next to this video. Write neatly, children. Next class we will see some more interesting topics in the same lesson. Okay, children. Thank you.
Students, this is the physical map of India. Okay, children. What I have said you before is India is broadly classified into 6 natural regions, isn't it? We saw about the North Mountain Ranges, the Northern Plains, the Great Indian Desert, isn't it? The first topic is the North Mountain Ranges. What I said in this, India is bordered in the north side. See, this is the north side, which is fully Himalayas. Okay, which is fully Himalayas side, and it is stretches from Jammu and Kashmir. See here, Jammu and Kashmir in the north. See, this is the north side, Jammu and Kashmir in the north to Arunachal Pradesh. See here, Arunachal Pradesh in the east, isn't it? I said you right. So this is the Jammu and Kashmir from the north to Arunachal Pradesh in the east. This range of mountains stretches from Jammu and Kashmir to Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, children. This Himalayas is divided into 3 parallel regions, isn't it? 3 parallel regions. The first one is Great Himalayas, isn't it? See here is the Great Himalayas or Himadri. The second one is the Middle or Lesser Himalayas. Here it is located, which is mean by Himachal. Okay, I said you about Mount Everest and Kanchenjunga, isn't it? See here, Mount Everest and Kanchenjunga. The third one is Shivalik Range. See here, the Shivalik Range, lower. Okay, it is a lower Himalayas. Okay, what we saw about Greater Himalayas, Himadri, there is the highest peak in the world, isn't it? The highest peak in the world, Mount Everest, which is located in Nepal. See here, it is located in Nepal. Okay, and the highest peak in India, Mount Kanchenjunga. Okay, Mount Kanchenjunga is in India. Okay, this is about Himadri, and also I said about the perennial rivers, isn't it? What about the perennial rivers? Ganga. See here, the river Ganga passes through, isn't it? See, Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra and Satluj. See here, Satluj river. Okay, Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra and Satluj river. Okay, children, this is all about Himadri. Okay, and then when we move to the Himachal Range, this is between the Great Himalayas and Shivalik Range. We saw about famous places, hill stations like Darjeeling, Simla, Mussoorie, Nainital, isn't it? This all lies here only. Okay, children. And then about the Shivalik Range. Okay, this region has thick forest and has the wildlife sanctuaries and all, isn't it? So I said you about Shivalik Range also. When we move to the northern plains, what I said, students, I said about the 3 great rivers, isn't it? I said about the 3 great rivers. The one is Indus, isn't the first one is Indus. See here, Indus, this is a river. Okay, Indus. and the second one is Ganga. See here, Ganga. The third one is Brahmaputra. Okay, these are all where it is situated, children. This is all on the northern side. Okay, northern plains. What we call northern plains: Indus, Ganga, and Brahmaputra. Okay, and also I said about the northern plains, food bowl of India, isn't it? Because most of India's wheat and rice are grown here, so we call as food bowl of India. Okay, children, and the next what we saw about Great Indian Desert. What we saw? We saw about the Great Indian Desert, the other name called Thar Desert, isn't it? It lies in the Rajasthan. Where it lies, children? It lies in the Rajasthan. See, here is a place of Thar Desert. Okay, as this region is very less rainfall and it is also very dry, isn't it? I said about this. And the camel, known as the ship of the desert, is adapted to the life in this desert. These are all the this is all about Great Indian Desert or Thar Desert. Okay, children. Today we saw about Himalayas, Great Indian Desert, and Northern Plain. The next class we will saw the same map with the plateaus, coastal plains, and islands. Okay, children. Are you all clear about this? Where it is located and what about the Himalayas and all? We will see in the next class. Okay, children. Thank you.